I'm sure you've heard the news. The story of JonBenet Ramsey. Christmas night 1996, Boulder, Colorado. 6-year-old JonBenet Ramsey, a child beauty queen, was found dead. The Ramseys were thrust into a media storm. A ransom note demanded $118,000. JonBenet's body was found in her basement. The investigation was fraught with missteps and inconsistencies. The case remains a chilling reminder of the loss of innocence. If you want to dive deeper into true crime mysteries, make sure to subscribe to CrimeByte for more compelling stories. A life cut short. JonBenet's world of pageantry and innocence. JonBenet Ramsey, a name forever etched in true crime, was more than just a victim. She was a daughter, a sister, a friend, and a shining light. Born into affluence, JonBenet's world was a mix of privilege and childhood joys. But there was another side to JonBenet's life: child beauty pageants. With her blonde curls and blue eyes, JonBenet was a natural. She charmed judges, collecting titles and tiaras. Photos of JonBenet in pageant regalia became tragically iconic. These images, meant to capture her exuberance, became entangled with her murder. Despite the glitz, JonBenet was remembered for her kind heart and playful spirit. Her murder left a void that can never be filled. A family under suspicion. The Ramseys in the media glare. The Ramseys, living the American dream, were thrust into a nightmare. John, a businessman, and Patsy, a beauty queen, faced the media spotlight. Their grief was compounded by searing scrutiny. The Boulder police focused on the family, fueling public suspicion. The Ramseys became subjects of intense scrutiny. Patsy faced relentless accusations. Her emotional pleas were seen as signs of guilt. John was criticized for his stoic demeanor. Burke, their son, was also drawn into suspicion. The media frenzy was relentless. Every detail was splashed across media. The Ramseys were judged in the court of public opinion. A night of festivities and unsettling silence. Christmas Eve at the Ramseys. The Ramsey home, a stately Tudor, was alive with the spirit of Christmas. Lights twinkled on the towering pine tree, its branches laden with ornaments. It was Christmas Eve, 1996, and the Ramseys were hosting their annual holiday party. 6-year-old JonBenet, in a velvet Christmas dress, was the star of the show. Her parents, John and Patsy, beamed with pride. As the evening wore on, guests began to depart. Little did they know this night would be their last as a complete family. The first rays of dawn on December 26, 1996, painted a scene of unimaginable horror at the Ramsey residence. The festive cheer of the previous night had given way to a chilling silence. At 5:52 a.m., Patsy Ramsey made a desperate call to 911. "We have a kidnapping! Hurry, please!" she cried. "There's a note left and our daughter is gone." The operator assured Patsy that help was on the way. In the basement, John Ramsey found the lifeless body of JonBenet. She was lying on the cold concrete floor, her tiny body covered with a white blanket. In that heart-wrenching moment, any hope that JonBenet might still be alive evaporated. The discovery of JonBenet's body only deepened the mystery surrounding her death. Among the many baffling elements of the JonBenet Ramsey case, the ransom note stands out as particularly perplexing. Handwritten on a notepad found in the Ramsey home, the note was an oddity from the start. The note began with a chilling salutation. "Mr. and Mrs. Ramsey, listen carefully." The note demanded $118,000, matching John Ramsey's recent Christmas bonus. It concluded with the cryptic phrase, "Victory, SBTC," an acronym never definitively deciphered. The Ramsey home, transformed from a festive holiday setting to a crime scene, should have been treated with the utmost care and precision. Instead, the investigation into JonBenet's murder was marred by a series of missteps and blunders. Friends and neighbors were allowed to move freely through the house, potentially contaminating crucial evidence. John Ramsey's discovery of his daughter's body and moving it further compromised the crime scene. This act destroyed valuable forensic evidence. A broken basement window yielded no signs of forced entry. Cobwebs remained undisturbed, and there were no footprints in the fresh snow outside. The mishandling of the crime scene cast a long shadow over the entire investigation. The Ramseys' opulent home, once filled with joyous echoes, was now shrouded in eerie silence. The air, heavy with the scent of pine needles, now carried a chilling undercurrent of dread. In this stillness, Patsy Ramsey made a discovery that would send shockwaves through their lives. On the top step of a spiral staircase, Patsy found a handwritten note resting ominously. It was a sight that sent a surge of adrenaline through her veins. The note, written in shaky handwriting, was addressed to John and Patsy Ramsey. Patsy picked up the note, her fingers trembling. With a deep breath, she began to read, her mind struggling to process the chilling implications. The ransom note was a rambling 2.5-page missive that raised more questions than it answered. It transformed a simple transaction into a strange and unsettling narrative. Mr. and Mrs. Ramsey, it began, listen carefully. We are a group of individuals that represent a small foreign faction. At this time we have your daughter in our possession. They demanded $118,000 for JonBenet's safe return. The note concluded with the enigmatic phrase, Victory, SBTC. As Patsy read and reread the ransom note, a growing sense of unease washed over her. Beyond the chilling nature of the threats and the audacity of the demands, there was something about the note itself that felt off, something that didn't quite ring true. It was a tapestry woven with contradictions, a bizarre blend of meticulous planning and glaring inconsistencies. The note's length, for one, was highly unusual. Ransom notes were typically brief, to-the-point messages designed to expedite the exchange of money for a hostage. This note, however, read more like a rambling manifesto, filled with unnecessary details and strange tangents. Why would kidnappers, presumably eager to avoid detection, linger in the victim's home long enough to compose such a lengthy and convoluted message? The writer's voice also presented a puzzle. While claiming to be a group, the note frequently lapsed into the first-person singular, creating a jarring inconsistency in the narrative. Was this a deliberate attempt to mislead investigators, or a sign that the writer was not as sophisticated as they wished to appear? The note's theatrical tone, with its references to a foreign faction and its cryptic sign-off, seemed at odds with the gravity of the situation. It was as if the writer, perhaps inspired by fictional accounts of kidnappings, was trying to emulate a script rather than craft a genuine threat. As the initial shock of the ransom note began to wear off, a new and potentially crucial detail emerged. The handwriting. The letters, penned in black ink, were uneven, almost childlike in their formation. They lacked the practiced flow of an experienced writer, suggesting a hurried and perhaps even desperate attempt to disguise their true script. The police, recognizing the potential significance of the handwriting, immediately set about trying to determine who might have written the note. Was it the work of the kidnapper, a desperate attempt to mask their identity? Or could it be a cruel fabrication, a red herring designed to mislead the investigation? Handwriting experts were brought in to analyze the ransom note, meticulously comparing it to samples of the Ramseys' writing and that of friends and family members. The analysis, however, proved inconclusive. While some experts noted similarities between the ransom note and Patsy Ramsey's handwriting, others argued that the differences were too significant to ignore. The mystery of the handwriting, much like the ransom note itself, remained an enigma. It was a tantalizing clue, a potential link to the kidnapper, yet it remained frustratingly out of reach. Was it a deliberate attempt to mislead investigators, or a subconscious slip that could unravel the entire case? The sprawling Tudor-style home, once a symbol of the Ramseys' affluence and success, was now shrouded in the grim mantle of a crime scene. Yellow police tape, a stark contrast to the festive Christmas decorations, cordoned off the property, transforming their personal sanctuary into a public spectacle of tragedy. The air, thick with the scent of pine needles and the lingering aroma of holiday baking, now carried the metallic tang of fear and suspicion. Inside, the scene was one of controlled chaos. Uniformed officers moved with practiced efficiency, their faces etched with the grim determination of seasoned investigators. Forensic teams clad in white jumpsuits meticulously combed through every room, their gloved hands searching for any trace of evidence that might shed light on the dark events that had unfolded within those walls. Every surface, every object, every nook and cranny of the house became a potential repository of clues. Fingerprints were dusted, fibers collected and photographs taken, each piece of evidence carefully cataloged and bagged, destined for analysis in the sterile confines of a crime lab. The Christmas decorations, once symbols of joy and celebration, now served as a jarring reminder of the innocence lost within those walls. The presents piled high beneath the towering Christmas tree, the stockings hung with care on the fireplace mantel, the festive table settings in the dining room, all stood frozen in time, a poignant tableau of a holiday celebration brutally interrupted. Down a narrow staircase tucked away beneath the grandeur of the main living area lay the basement, a dimly lit labyrinth of storage rooms, utility closets, and forgotten relics of the Ramseys' past. It was in this cold, impersonal space, far removed from the warmth and cheer of the holiday celebrations, that JonBenet's body had been found, transforming the basement from a mundane storage area into the epicenter of a haunting mystery. The basement, with its low ceilings, exposed pipes, and concrete floor, had an inherently eerie atmosphere, a sense of being both hidden and exposed. Unlike the meticulously decorated upstairs, the basement felt forgotten, a repository for discarded items and memories better left undisturbed. The door to the wine cellar, where JonBenet's body had been discovered, stood ajar, revealing a glimpse into the heart of the tragedy. Inside, the space felt even smaller, more claustrophobic, the air thick with the weight of unimaginable suffering. It was a scene that defied comprehension, a stark contrast to the opulence and normalcy that had once defined the Ramsey household. The basement's very layout, a warren of interconnected rooms and narrow passageways, only added to the sense of disorientation and unease. The lack of windows and the single bare bulb illuminating the main area created a sense of perpetual twilight, making it difficult to shake the feeling that something sinister lurked just beyond the shadows. Section 3. Traces of a struggle, forensic evidence, and puzzling clues. As forensic experts meticulously processed the crime scene, a chilling narrative began to emerge from the tapestry of evidence. A narrative that spoke of a struggle, of violence, and of a calculated brutality that defied comprehension. Each piece of evidence, carefully collected and cataloged, became a silent witness to the horror that had unfolded within those walls. The garrote, a crude but effective weapon fashioned from a length of nylon cord and a broken paintbrush handle, spoke volumes about the killer's intentions. It was a personal, intimate weapon, one that required close contact with the victim, suggesting a chilling level of premeditation and a desire to inflict pain. The duct tape, found near JonBenet's body and analyzed for traces of saliva or fingerprints, hinted at an attempt to silence her cries, to prevent her from calling for help. The positioning of the tape, covering her mouth but not her nose, suggested a chilling awareness of the need to keep her alive long enough to carry out their twisted plan. Fibers found on JonBenet's clothing, painstakingly compared to samples from the Ramsey home and the clothing of those who had been present in the hours leading up to her death, offered a tantalizing trail, a potential link to the killer that could unravel the entire case. Each fiber, meticulously examined under high-powered microscopes, held the potential to break the case wide open. Section 4. The broken window. A red herring or a vital clue. In the basement's dimly lit depths, a single detail stood out, a broken window. The window had a small, jagged hole as if forced open. Was it a red herring or a vital clue overlooked in the chaos? Theories abounded. The intruder versus family debate. The JonBenet Ramsey case is a tale of two narratives, each vying for dominance. The intruder theory points to a shadowy figure from outside the family circle. The family theory suggests the seeds of JonBenet's demise were sown within her home. The chasm between these theories is vast, fueled by circumstantial evidence and suspicion. It has divided families and fueled countless debates. each offering their own interpretation. Section 2. The Intruder Theory. Evidence from outside the family circle. The Ramsey home, a fortress of affluence, became a tragic symbol of vulnerability. Seemingly inexplicable details hint at an unknown intruder. The unidentified DNA found on JonBenet's clothing. This genetic fingerprint doesn't match any Ramsey family member, a phantom signature suggesting an outsider's involvement. Section 3. Unanswered questions. Challenges to the intruder narrative. Despite the plausibility of the intruder theory, nagging questions cast doubt over this narrative. One glaring inconsistency is the lack of forced entry. The doors were locked, the alarm system was not triggered. The ransom note's unusual length and tone challenge the intruder theory. The amount demanded matches John Ramsey's recent Christmas bonus. These inconsistencies and lack of concrete evidence lead many to question the intruder theory. Section 4. The Family Theory. Suspicions turn inward. As the investigation into an intruder failed, a darker theory took root: the family theory. This theory suggested the key to JonBenet's death lay within the Ramsey home. It posits that one or more family members were involved. Proponents point to the lack of forced entry, the unusual ransom note, and the seemingly staged crime scene. Section 5. Shifting blame. The evolution of theories within the family. As the family theory gained traction, speculation about which family member might have been involved in JonBenet's death grew. The media frenzy shifted blame from one family member to another, creating a climate of suspicion. Patsy Ramsey, JonBenet's mother, became a focal point of suspicion. Her emotional pleas and handwriting similarities to the ransom note painted her as a suspect. John Ramsey, JonBenet's father, also faced scrutiny. His wealth and stoic demeanor fed into the narrative of his involvement. Even Burke Ramsey, JonBenet's older brother, was not immune from suspicion. The shifting blame within the Ramsey family created a climate of chaos and confusion. Section 6. A cloud of doubt, unresolved questions, and lingering suspicions. Despite years of investigation, the JonBenet Ramsey case remains shrouded in doubt, a labyrinth of unanswered questions and lingering suspicions. It's a case that defies easy answers, frustrating even the most seasoned investigators. The lack of resolution has left a void, quickly filled with speculation and conjecture. The case has become a cultural Rorschach test, projecting our fears and beliefs. The intruder theory and the family theory coexist, each with its own supporters. Neither theory fully accounts for all the evidence, leaving a residue of doubt. Section 1. The media's glare, a family thrust into the spotlight. The killing of JonBenet Ramsey was more than a horrific crime. It was a media sensation that captivated the nation. A relentless media storm descended upon the family, their quiet Boulder neighborhood overrun by reporters and camera crews. The tragedy had become a public spectacle, the Ramseys unwilling players in a global drama. News vans lined the streets, their satellite dishes reaching for the sky. Reporters camped out, hungry for any morsel of information. Every aspect of the Ramseys' lives was now subject to public consumption. Section 2. A feeding frenzy begins. The Ramseys as primetime players. The JonBenet Ramsey case, with its potent mix of wealth, beauty, and mystery, proved irresistible to a media landscape increasingly driven by sensationalism and the pursuit of ratings. The story had all the elements of a primetime drama, a picture-perfect family shattered by tragedy, a web of unanswered questions, and a cast of characters whose lives seemed ripped from the pages of a best-selling thriller. Cable news networks, sensing a ratings bonanza, devoted hours of airtime to the case, their anchors dissecting every detail, every theory, every rumor with an intensity that bordered on obsession. Talking heads, a mix of legal experts, criminal profilers, and self-proclaimed body language specialists, weighed in with their opinions, their voices adding to the cacophony of speculation and conjecture. Tabloid newspapers, never ones to let the facts get in the way of a good story, unleashed a torrent of headlines that ranged from the salacious to the outright absurd. Unsubstantiated rumors were presented as fact, anonymous sources quoted with unwavering certainty, and the Ramseys themselves depicted as either victims of a heinous crime or masterminds of a sinister cover-up. The public, bombarded with this constant barrage of information, struggled to separate fact from fiction. The lines between news and entertainment became increasingly blurred as the JonBenet Ramsey case transformed from a tragic news story into a macabre form of national entertainment. Section 3: Image versus Reality: The Construction of a Narrative. The media's relentless coverage of the JonBenet Ramsey case had a profound impact on the way the story was perceived by the public, shaping the narrative in ways that both illuminated and obscured the truth. The Ramseys, thrust into the unforgiving glare of the spotlight, quickly learned that image was everything, and that the court of public opinion could be just as unforgiving as any jury. The family's wealth, once a symbol of their success, became a double-edged sword. It fueled speculation about lavish lifestyles, dark secrets hidden behind closed doors, and the possibility that they were somehow above the law. The Ramseys' opulent home, their expensive cars, their lavish Christmas decorations, all of these details, once mundane aspects of their everyday lives, were now scrutinized and interpreted as evidence of a sinister undercurrent. Patsy Ramsey, a former beauty queen, found her past scrutinized and weaponized against her. Photographs from her pageant days, once symbols of her youthful beauty and ambition, were now used to paint her as narcissistic, manipulative, and capable of staging a macabre spectacle to protect her family's reputation. John Ramsey, a successful businessman, was portrayed as cold, calculating, and more concerned with protecting his family's image than with finding his daughter's killer. His stoic demeanor and public appearances, a natural response to the overwhelming grief and scrutiny he was facing, was often misinterpreted as a sign of guilt or indifference. Section 4: Trial by Media. Public opinion shapes the case. The JonBenet Ramsey case became a trial by media, where public perception was shaped by a relentless media narrative. The Ramseys were judged in the court of public opinion long before any formal charges. Talk shows dissected every aspect of the Ramseys' lives, analyzing for signs of guilt or innocence. Guests with little expertise offered opinions with unwavering certainty. Online forums became breeding grounds for speculation and armchair detective work. The constant barrage of speculation impacted the investigation itself. Section 5: The Perils of Speculation: When Theories Overshadow Facts. The JonBenet Ramsey case became a cautionary tale about the perils of speculation, a stark reminder of how quickly theories, fueled by a relentless media cycle and an insatiable public appetite for answers, can overshadow facts, hindering the pursuit of justice and obscuring the truth. The sheer volume of information, misinformation, and disinformation surrounding the case created a dense fog of speculation, making it increasingly difficult to separate fact from fiction. Theories, often based on flimsy evidence or outright fabrications, took on a life of their own, spreading like wildfire through the media and taking root in the public's imagination. The constant churn of speculation had a chilling effect on the investigation itself. Witnesses, fearing for their reputations or influenced by the prevailing narratives, were often reluctant to come forward with information. Evidence, misinterpreted or taken out of context, was used to support preconceived theories, rather than to build a solid case based on facts. The media, driven by the need to be first, to break the next big story, often prioritized speed over accuracy, publishing sensationalized accounts that lacked proper vetting or verification. Corrections, if they came at all, were often buried and came too late to undo the damage already inflicted. Section 6: A Legacy of Scrutiny: The Enduring Impact on the Ramseys. The JonBenet Ramsey case left an indelible mark on the family, a legacy of scrutiny and suspicion. The relentless media attention and public speculation took a heavy toll, leaving them forever marked by the tragedy. Patsy Ramsey spent her final years under a cloud of suspicion, her every move scrutinized. John Ramsey, though cleared by DNA evidence, continued to face public skepticism and distrust. Burke Ramsey grew up under the shadow of his sister's murder, making it difficult to lead a normal life. New technologies, new hope. The JonBenet Ramsey case remains a chilling reminder of the limits of justice. But as time marches on, so too does the science that could crack this case. Advances in forensic technology offer investigators new tools to revisit old evidence. Fibers, hairs, fingerprints, once too small for analysis, can now be examined with precision. Expanding genetic databases increase the likelihood of finding a match to unidentified DNA. These advancements offer hope, a chance to breathe new life into a cold case. DNA evidence, hailed as the gold standard of forensic science, has played a pivotal role in the JonBenet Ramsey case, both advancing and complicating the search for her killer. It's a double-edged sword, capable of both illuminating the path to justice and casting long shadows of doubt. The discovery of unidentified male DNA on JonBenet's clothing, a genetic fingerprint that didn't match any member of her family, sent shockwaves through the investigation. It was a tantalizing clue, suggesting the involvement of an unknown individual, a phantom presence in the Ramsey home on that fateful night. This DNA profile, meticulously analyzed and compared to countless others in law enforcement databases, became both a beacon of hope and a source of frustration. It held the promise of identifying the killer, of providing concrete, irrefutable evidence of their involvement. Yet despite years of searching, no match was found, leaving investigators and the public alike to grapple with the implications of this genetic enigma. As technology advances, so too do the tools available to investigators seeking to unlock the secrets hidden within DNA. Touch DNA analysis has emerged as a game-changer in forensic science. In the JonBenet Ramsey case, touch DNA could identify the source of the unidentified male DNA found on her clothing. Even the briefest contact could yield enough genetic material to generate a DNA profile. Objects previously deemed inconsequential could now hold vital clues. By re-examining evidence, investigators may isolate touch DNA samples and put a name to the genetic phantom haunting this case. The JonBenet Ramsey case, once seemingly destined to remain an unsolved mystery, now stands at the cusp of a new era in forensic science. Cutting-edge technologies hold the promise of finally uncovering the truth. AI and forensic genealogy are revolutionizing investigations. AI can re-examine evidence and identify new leads. Forensic genealogy traces family trees to find suspects. As technology advances, we move closer to solving every crime. JonBenet Ramsey, a name forever etched in true crime, represents more than an unsolved murder. Her story, a tragic blend of innocence lost and justice deferred, is a cultural touchstone. Her legacy speaks to our belief in truth and justice. JonBenet's memory inspires kindness, compassion, and a relentless pursuit of justice. Foundations in her name protect children, advocating for their safety. The pursuit of justice for JonBenet is a shared mission. Investigators continue to explore new leads, hoping to uncover the truth. JonBenet's legacy, intertwined with tragedy, is one of hope. It reminds us that even in darkness, the human spirit can shine a light. More than 2 decades have passed since JonBenet Ramsey's murder, yet the fascination with her case remains strong. Documentaries dissect the evidence, podcasts delve into theories, and online forums buzz with speculation. The enduring mystery, unanswered questions, and tantalizing clues create a puzzle we can't put down. The case's complexity and human drama resonate with our fears and vulnerabilities. Our fascination is a way of grappling with anxieties, trying to make sense of such tragedies. Despite countless dead ends, the JonBenet Ramsey case remains a testament to hope. The human spirit, driven by an unwavering belief in justice, endures. Advancements in forensic science offer a glimmer of hope. Touch DNA and forensic genealogy provide new tools to uncover clues. The case now stands as a beacon of hope for other cold cases. No crime is beyond the reach of science and determination. Each breakthrough brings us closer to justice for every victim. Hope lies in those who refuse to let JonBenet's memory fade. Their belief in resolution and closure illuminates the path to a brighter future.